how are you, man?
Good. We've never met before.
No.
Okay. I'm just going to go over with you some of your testimony from yesterday and today. If you would just keep your voice up, you know, we've got these loud fans going here for us. You told us yesterday that you had started the evening at another party, right? That was at Mr. Crespo's house?
Yes.
And that was for a surprise birthday party, right?
Yes, sir.
You thought maybe you'd had 2 beers there or so?
Yeah.
You thought you got there around 9 o'clock, spent about an hour there, and left around 10, right?
Yes.
And from there, you went over to Tyler Rich's house because you told us that was the regular thing to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
When you say the regular thing to do, you meant on a weekend night in general, or that month because something special was going on?
Regular thing to do, hang out with your friends. That's it.
And was it a regular thing to go over there and that there would be underage drinking going on?
I wouldn't say it's a regular thing.
No?
Just hanging out.
Okay. So this was unusual to go over there and that there would be drinking going on that
It
night?
wasn't unusual. It's not like it don't happen every single time. Like, I might drink every once in a blue moon, but it's not like every weekend.
Okay. Did you know when you went over there that Mr. Rich's parents weren't going to be there?
Nah, I didn't know.
When you got there, did you discover that Mr. Rich's parents were not there?
No, not really.
You didn't know that because you went straight down into the basement?
Yep.
And you told us you didn't bring any alcohol with you?
No.
You went right into the house?
Yep.
And you'd shown up with Mr. Oko, who drove you?
Yes.
Jacob Villalobos and Matthew Sanchez?
Moore Sanchez.
I'm sorry?
Matthew Moore Sanchez.
Matthew Moore Sanchez? Is that like hyphenated?
Yeah, actually, I don't know. It might be. I don't know.
Okay. You walked into the basement through what we've all heard about, those Belco doors, right?
Yeah.
And people, you said, were just chilling, hanging out, and they were drinking down there, correct?
Yeah, they were drinking.
You yourself hadn't brought any alcohol?
Nah.
There was alcohol provided to you there. You had 2 Bud Lights, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember who gave you those 2 Bud Lights?
Nah, I was just bumming a beer off someone.
Okay. Did you see Aiden King there?
Yeah, I saw Aiden King.
Did he have Bud Lights?
Not that I recall.
And you told us that you think you had maybe as many as 4 drinks, right?
Yes, sir.
It was dark that night?
Yeah, it was nighttime.
Sure. Was it also misty or rainy?
Not that I recall.
You don't recall that?
I don't recall.
And when you got there, you said that no one was outside, right?
No, sir.
When you got down into the basement, how many people were there?
Probably like anywhere between 20 to 30, give or take.
20 to 30?
Yeah.
Do you remember telling us yesterday that it was maybe less than that? 15 to 20?
No, I don't recall that.
Okay. And you told us that you were really good friends with Tyler Rich. Right?
Yes, sir.
And you're also friends with Jimmy McGrath?
Yes, I was friends with him.
And how did you know Jimmy McGrath?
I knew him just through other people pretty much. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's my best friend in the whole wide world, but he's a really good friend of mine.
You went through a list of folks that were there. It sounded like most of them you either went to school with or you played football with.
Yes, sir.
Is that fair to say? And you identified yourself as having worn a Marvel Duck shirt that night, right?
Yes, sir.
But at some point you told us you'd taken that shirt off.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Do you remember when you took that shirt off?
When I was outside.
Was it before the fight that we saw?
I don't believe so.
It didn't get taken off in the course of that fight, right?
Nah, it was just hot outside.
Okay. You said that Ryan Hines and Griffin Marcinzik showed up, right?
Yep.
And you spoke with them briefly.
Yeah.
So they showed up after you were there, or they were in the basement?
It was after I got there they came.
Okay, so they arrived after you.
Yeah.
And when they got there, you learned that there had been some sort of fight over at 5 Lazy Brook, right?
Yes.
And you said you were unaware of the basketball group chat?
What group chat?
You don't recall there being a group chat going on that evening?
No.
Griffin Marcinzik or Ryan Hines didn't tell you, hey, we're texting these kids telling them to come over here?
No.
You didn't show up at the house until sometime around 10:30?
Yes, sir.
When you showed up and went down into the basement, nobody was talking about a 5 Lazy Brook?
Not when I got there, no.
That was only after Ryan Hines and Griffin Marcinzik arrived?
Yes, sir.
And you said that you told us yesterday that you learned of that group chat from Tanner Chernowski before these kids arrived, right?
I did not say that.
You don't recall telling us yesterday that you learned about this group chat from Tanner Chernowski before the kids arrived?
I didn't say before which kids arrived.
Before the kids from the 5 Lazy Brook fight arrived in the pilot.
Before that? Yeah, before that, yes.
Before that, you learned from Tanner Chernowski,
Yeah, from Tanner
that there was
Chernowski.
this group chat going on, right?
No, I didn't know nothing about a group chat. I just knew they was texting.
Well, that he was texting.
Yeah.
Is your understanding that that's different than a group chat?
I mean, a group chat is when there's a lot of people, but I wasn't really looking for details. You just said they was texting.
Okay, so you didn't know that there was a group chat, so to speak, but you did know that there was texting going on.
Yes.
And you knew that texting, you learned about that from Tanner Chernowski.
Yes, sir.
And you knew that texting involved texting the address of 43 Laurel Glen Drive to these other kids, correct?
No, sir.
What was your understanding of what that texting involved?
I just knew they were talking to someone else.
You knew they were talking in a polite, friendly fashion with someone else?
I had no idea, sir.
They didn't tell you what they were texting? They just said, hey, we're texting?
I don't recall.
You don't recall what they were texting?
No, sir.
So Tanner Chernowski told you that they were texting some. Said that then shortly thereafter, Griffin and Ryan arrived, some people that were not invited showed up, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's your testimony that you didn't know that in fact they had been told to come to that address by these people that were texting them.
I had no idea.
And then you told us you saw that somebody had McDonald's. Who was that?
I heard that they had McDonald's.
You heard that the people that had showed up in the car had McDonald's?
Yeah.
Do you remember who told you that?
No, sir.
Okay. But you told us you're a hungry guy, and that McDonald's drew you out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you walked through the driveway and across, and the car that you described as having showed up, that was across the street, correct?
Yes, sir.
Close to the right-hand curb of the other side of the street, right?
Yes, sir.
And you told us you didn't recall which way it was facing, though.
No, I did not.
And when you went outside, you were with Tyler Richards, correct?
Yes.
And then you said 5 to 7 other people, but yesterday you couldn't remember who any of those people were other than Tyler Richards. Do you remember who any of those folks were now?
No, sir.
And that ultimately, you and those 5 to 7 other people were then joined by more people, correct?
Where, outside by the car?
When you went outside?
Yeah, by the car. At what point?
Near the car?
Repeat the question for me.
Sure. So we're talking about now when you've gone outside and you're with Tyler Richards, right?
Yeah.
5 to 7 other people.
Yeah.
You've seen this car that you've described for us as being across the street.
Yeah.
And you said that it was your understanding that those people had not been invited.
Yes.
Okay. So that's where we are now.
Okay.
You and these 5 to 7 other people, where are you standing at this point?
I was near the driver's side.
You were near the car, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, you told us that you were right next to it, right? You got pretty close.
Yeah, I got pretty close.
And then you were joined by more people, correct?
It was not really.
Okay. You don't remember telling us yesterday that you had been joined by more people?
Now we were outside by the car. No, I don't recall that.
Okay. When you're outside by the car, it was just you and 5 to 7 other people?
I believe so, yes.
Where were the rest of the people that were at the party?
They're out. Some people were outside, but they was really just standing on the grass.
They were just standing on the grass?
Yeah.
So, just you and maybe 5 to 7 other people are by the car?
Yes.
Not any other people joined you?
No.
Okay. You looked into the car and you said there were 4 people inside, correct?
Yes.
And you recognized Mackenzie Trafficante because you knew her from middle school?
Yep.
And you talked with the driver, right?
I don't believe so, no.
You don't recall telling us yesterday you conversed with the driver and you were asking him about McDonald's?
I didn't say that.
Okay. Did you ask anybody about McDonald's?
Yeah, well, when I came to the car first, I was I asked, y'all got McDonald's or whatever, but then after that, I was really just telling them to leave.
Okay. Who did you ask about y'all have McDonald's?
At the time, I didn't know who the driver was, but now I know it's Jack Snyder.
Okay. So you did ask the driver about McDonald's, right?
Yeah, I asked somebody in the car.
Well, was it the driver, sir, or was it somebody else?
It was the driver.
It was the driver?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they said, no, we don't have any McDonald's, and you backed off, right?
Yeah.
But you were still near the car at that point.
Yes, sir.
And at that point, you hadn't been joined by anybody else. It was just you and these 5 to 7 other folks.
Yes, sir.
So that's you, Tyler Richards, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's 2. And you can't remember who the other
No, I do not
5 to
recall.
6 people were.
I don't recall.
You said you observed some arguing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Who was arguing?
I do not recall.
You said you got closer, correct?
I do not recall.
Okay. And you screamed, y'all got to leave, y'all got to dip, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do remember that part that you told us yesterday?
Yes, sir.
You don't remember who it was that was arguing or telling us that you got closer, though?
What? Repeat the statement.
Right. You don't remember telling us yesterday that you had gotten closer to the car after you observed the arguing?
I do not recall.
Okay. And you said that the vehicle wasn't moving, right?
No, not at first.
And then these people that were near the car, which you've described now as being just 5 to 7 people, they started rocking the car, right?
Yeah.
They had their hands on the car?
Yep.
You're sure it was just 5 to 7 at that point?
Yes, sir.
Nobody else had peeled off with you to go stand back and away from the car?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you remember who those 5 to 7 were?
I do not recall.
Was Tyler Richards one of them?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so you do recall that it was Tyler Richards who was one of those people?
You already asked me that.
Sir, I'm asking you now. You just told us before that you didn't recall who any of those 5 to 7 were.
You asked me, besides Tyler Rich, do you remember any of those people? And I said, I do not recall.
We'll try and figure out who is still around that vehicle. You've now told us that you moved away from the car, correct?
No, I said I stepped a little bit away from the vehicle.
Right. Leaving at least Tyler Richards there by the car, correct?
Yes.
But you can't remember who any of the other people
No, I do not recall.
Okay. And you saw Tyler Richards do what near the car?
I do not recall.
So you don't recall seeing Tyler Richards reach in to the front driver's side window?
No, I do not recall.
And you don't recall who it was that was rocking the car, but you would agree that there was rocking of the car going on?
Yes, sir.
And you said that at some point the vehicle went down the road towards Farmhouse Lane, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then back towards Adams, right?
Yes.
The car went back and forth and people were chasing it, right?
Yep.
And the Shelton High kids, they were throwing things at the car, you told us.
Yeah.
You don't recall anything being thrown from the car, correct?
No, I don't recall that.
And you heard something hit the car and heard it shatter, right?
Yeah, like a bang sound.
But you don't recall seeing what that was.
Nah, I didn't see it.
You didn't see anybody throw anything at the car that you could identify who that was.
No, sir.
You said at some point the car stopped driving back and forth, right?
Yeah.
And that there were some people over there a bit further away, closer to Farmhouse Lane at that point, right?
I do not recall.
I'm going to show you. States Exhibit 1. Put it right there behind you. You recall looking at that yesterday?
Yeah.
And you recall telling us that the car stopped driving back and forth and there were some people over there a bit further away, closer to Farmhouse Lane. Do you see Farmhouse Lane on that exhibit?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you remember telling us that yesterday?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes,
And-
I do remember saying that.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I do remember saying that.
Okay. And that you were still at this point on the side of the road by 43 Laurel Glen Drive where that red marker is on the Exhibit 1, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that everybody started coming back to the house and you stayed outside, right?
Yeah.
And you watched as friends of yours went down the street, correct?
Yeah.
But you weren't with them, right?
No, sir.
You stayed there at 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right?
Yes, sir.
Just looking down the street to see
Yes,
what was
sir.
going on. And those people, they were about 2 football fields away. Is that fair to say?
I do not recall.
You're a football player, correct?
Of course I am.
Okay. Well, when you looked down that way, did it seem like it was maybe about 2 football fields away?
No, I don't
No.
recall.
How close did it seem to you?
I do not recall. It was like down the street.
Okay. You can't put a distance on it?
No.
Okay. Did you hear anything when you saw your friends go down the street?
No, sir.
You didn't hear anything being thrown, any threats being shouted, anything like that?
No, sir.
You didn't see anything being thrown?
No, sir.
Did you see anybody get out of the car?
No, sir.
At some point, these folks who had gone down there, how many people do you think went down the street?
Maybe like 5, if that.
Was it the same 5 that had remained around the vehicle?
I don't recall.
But at some point, these people came back, you said, and you dapped them up and high-fived them, right?
Yeah.
For running people off, you said.
I did not say that. Just
You didn't tell us yesterday that you dapped them up and high-fived them for
like,
running people off?
Yeah, like away from the property, yes.
Okay. Well, why did you say you didn't say that?
But just the way he worded it. That's it.
And then you remained outside, correct?
Yes, sir.
You never went back into the basement.
No, sir.
But most of the other folks did go back in the basement, right?
Yes.
Was anybody else outside with you at this point?
It was like me, Rich, trying to think. Or Ty Wood was out there with us. Definitely. Who showed? I don't recall after that.
But you, Tyler Rich, and Ty Woods at least stayed
Yeah,
outside, didn't
yeah.
go back into the house.
Yeah, no.
And you told us at some point that this car returned, this Honda Pilot, right?
Yes, sir.
And you and Tyler Rich were still outside when that happened?
Yes, sir.
And did Tyler Rich say, "They're back"?
I do not recall.
You don't recall hearing anybody say they're back?
I don't recall.
Do you recall hearing anybody say anything?
Not really, no.
You said 2 people got out and they came up to you, right? And at that point, you told us that Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva got out of the car, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall where Mr. De Silva got out of the car from?
The car?
Passenger side, back seat?
I do
anything
not
like that?
recall.
But you do recall that he was wearing a baseball jersey?
Yes, sir.
And you said they approached and they looked like they were trying to start a problem, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean by they looked like they were trying to start a problem?
I mean, when you could just like tell when somebody's walking up at a place they're not supposed to be, and it's the way somebody look.
How did they look?
Just like ready to start an issue, bro. Like I don't know like how you want me to describe it. Like they didn't like look like they was coming like cheery, like mad friendly, like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Like, you know, they wasn't like that. I ain't think. Like they just came. Like you just tell by their demeanor if you're able to read a person.
Did they come running at you?
Nah.
Did they have their fists up?
Nah.
Did you see a knife?
No, I didn't see no knife.
Did you see Mr. De Silva approach Mr. Richards?
Yes, sir.
Rich, sorry. And was he talking to Mr. Rich?
Yeah, they was talking.
And did it appear to be civil?
Yeah. Like at first, kind of, sort of. Then
How many people were in the yard at that point?
at that point in time, I would say like 5 to 10, like in the yard.
At some point, you were joined by everybody that had been inside the house, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of people outside.
There was a lot of people outside?
Yes, sir.
How many?
About like 20 to 30.
And those 20 to 30 started to encircle Mr. De Silva and Mr. Valle, right?
No, sir.
No, sir?
Nah.
What did they do?
They was outside chilling.
They were just outside chilling,
Yep, observing the scene.
observing the scene
Yeah, like just like watching from the grass. Like,
quietly.
yeah, pretty much.
Did you see anybody with their cameras out?
No,
Didn't see anybody recording anything?
nope,
Didn't see anybody with flashlights?
nope.
You said that Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva were not close to you, correct?
At first they weren't, no.
You heard somebody say that they were looking for Aiden King, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you see Aiden King anywhere?
Not at the time, no.
And at that point, you told us you moved to the front of this group.
Yes, sir.
How did you move to the front of the group that was just milling around and chilling?
Nah, boom. You want me to show you?
I'd like you to describe it if you
I
could.
mean, I could describe it to you. I was a bit in the back. Then I heard them saying they was looking for Aiden King. So I came to the front.
You were in the back of who?
And I don't recall who, but I was just like, I wasn't standing like toe to toe at first. Like I was just like a little off to the back.
But you had to move around some people in order to get to the front?
Maybe like one or two people, yeah.
Just one or two people?
Sure.
I'm sorry?
I said yes.
Do you think it might have been more?
No.
No, you think it was only one or two?
Yes.
And you said that Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva were only 2 feet apart, correct?
Yeah.
Was Mr. Valle behind Mr. De Silva?
I do not recall.
Was Mr. Valle beside Mr. Rich?
I do not recall.
And you told us you were closer to Mr. Valle and you said y'all got to leave, right?
Yeah.
You also said, as you told officers, but you haven't told us here, my friends are crazy, they get rowdy, right?
I don't recall saying that.
You don't recall telling that to Detective Bango on June 8th of 2022?
No, I do not recall that.
And you don't recall saying to Mr. Valle, my friends are crazy, they get rowdy, y'all need to leave?
No, I do not recall that.
Would you describe your friends as being crazy and getting rowdy?
No.
No.
Nah.
You said somebody was arguing with Tyler Rich, right?
Yeah.
Who was arguing with Tyler Rich?
I don't recall.
There were only 2 people that got out of that car. You don't recall who was arguing with Tyler Rich?
Oh.
How close were you to Tyler Rich when this happened?
I was fairly close to him.
And you said the arguing lasted about 30 seconds.
Yeah, if that, like maybe 20.
And that then a punch was thrown by Tyler Rich, right?
Yes, sir.
And you don't recall why he threw that punch, right?
No, sir.
You didn't see Mr. Valle do anything to attack Mr. Rich, did you?
I do not recall.
You didn't see Mr. Valle do anything to attack you, did you?
I don't recall.
You didn't see Mr. Valle do anything to attack anybody at that point, did you?
I don't recall.
You don't recall why Mr. Rich decided to punch him, but it wasn't because you saw Mr. Valle do anything to Mr. Rich or anybody else at that point.
I don't recall.
Well, did you see Mr. Valle do anything to anybody at that point?
I don't recall.
But you recall seeing Mr. Valle.
Yes, sir.
But you don't recall what you saw him do.
Nope.
You do recall, however, somebody saying, "Where's Aiden? That's my boy. I want to talk to him."
Yeah, I recall that.
But you don't recall telling the officers that someone threw a punch, but you didn't know who it was.
I do. Wait, what? Restate the statement.
You're telling us that you saw Tyler Rich throw the punch, but you didn't tell officers that when you spoke to them, right? You said, I don't know, someone threw a punch, but I don't know who it is.
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that. And you recall that then Tyler De Silva got hit, correct?
Yeah.
Who hit Tyler De Silva?
Tyler Rich?
Tyler Rich hit Tyler De Silva?
Yeah.
And Raul Valle?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did Tyler Rich hit both of them?
I don't recall.
You do recall, however, telling us that Tyler De Silva went to the ground near the tree, right?
Yeah.
And you told us that you participated in this, correct?
Yes, sir.
You didn't tell the officers that you participated in this when you spoke to them, did you?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall telling officers that you participated in kicking and stomping?
I don't recall.
Do you recall talking to the officers?
Yeah.
But you don't recall telling them whether or not you were involved, right?
I don't recall, sir.
Because you didn't tell them that you were involved, right?
I don't recall.
And you told us that you were throwing some kicks, what you described as stomps, right?
Yes, sir.
You described those as being not too hard, right?
Nah.
Love taps.
Yeah, something like that.
And then today you said, well, maybe those were medium kicks, right?
Same word, sir.
Not quite the same words. Not too hard. Medium. Could they have been hard kicks?
No.
No. When you were throwing those kicks, were you telling anybody, hey, these are just soft kicks, don't worry about these kicks?
No. I don't recall.
Were you saying, hey, these are just medium stomps, don't worry about these stomps? I'm going to stop in just a second.
I don't recall that.
No. You don't recall that because you didn't say that, right? You
Yeah.
said, let's go. And then as you described it, inward, right?
Yes, I did.
That was directed at the person that you were stomping, right?
I was just saying that. That's just the way I talk.
Just regularly as you're walking about, that's the kind of thing that you just say?
I mean,
Let's go inward. Just talking to the ether.
I mean, I can say that word whenever I want.
I imagine that you could. I mean, anybody could. I'm asking you in this particular situation, you were not directing that at the person that you were kicking?
Yeah, I was directing it towards him.
You were directing it towards him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why didn't you tell me that the first time when I asked?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean?
The first time I asked you if you were directing that at the person that you were kicking, you told me you didn't recall. Now you recall?
Sure, yeah.
Fact of the matter is, Mr. Teal, you're telling us here today things that you didn't admit to when you had the opportunity to before, when you spoke with officers. Would you agree?
No, I wouldn't agree on that.
You wouldn't agree. You've told all of this to the officers, that you were involved in the kicking and the stomping.
No, I didn't really tell him anything, bro.
You didn't tell that to officers, right?
No, sir.
Not when you talked to him on the 15th, correct?
No, sir.
Not when you talked to him on June 8th, correct?
Sure. Yeah, I don't even...
And at some point you said you stopped kicking, right?
Yeah.
And you decided at that time that it was time to start breaking up the fight, right?
Yeah.
And you thought that perhaps you had gotten cut when you were trying to take someone off the top of Tommy Connery, right?
I don't recall saying that.
You don't recall telling that to the officers, that you were trying to take someone off the top of Tommy Connery? You don't recall having any interactions with Tommy Connery?
I don't recall. Besides, when I saw him after, that's why I can tell you I remember.
You don't recall being stabbed, correct?
No, like in that moment of time, no.
Because you had so much adrenaline going at that point, right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of adrenaline going when you were throwing those kicks, right?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you were throwing those kicks and you were saying the things that you were saying, were you trying to scare the person that was on the ground?
I wouldn't say scared. It was, it was a fight.
It was a fight?
Yes, sir.
How many of you were fighting the person that was on the ground?
3 to 4.
That's it?
That's it.
And what were the other 17 or 18 people doing?
Observing.
You recall seeing Jimmy McGrath there that evening at the party, correct?
Yes, sir.
You don't recall where he was during the course of the fight in the front yard, do you?
No, I do not recall.
He wasn't one of the people you believe that was there with you, the 3 or 4 people kicking and fighting that person on the ground?
I do not recall.
The person that was on the ground, was that Tyler De Silva
Yes.
that you were fighting?
Yes.
You don't recall who the other people were there that were with you while you were stomping him?
No, I don't recall.
These folks that were at this party with you that night at 43 Laurel Glen Drive, these were all good friends of yours, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
And you would do anything to protect these friends of yours, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't want to see anything damage their reputations or their memories. Is that fair to say?
Objection. Relevance.
I'll allow it. Overruled.
You can answer, sir.
Restate the question for me.
You wouldn't want to see anything done to damage their reputations or their memories, correct?
Yeah, no.
And so today you've come in here and you've testified to us, and you would agree that you can't recall a large amount of what happened that evening, correct?
To a certain extent, yeah.
And that extent to which you can't recall involves what your friends were doing that night, right?
No. This is really the who.
I'm sorry?
This is really the who, like, where was they standing and stuff like that.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay. Any redirect?
Based on,
Yeah.
counsel just asked you whether or not you can recall the things that your friends were doing around you that night. You said you can't recall, right?
Oh,
Can you recall what you were doing that night?
yeah.
And is that what you told us?
Yeah.
In testimony today?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything on that limited address?
Nothing further.
All right, very good. All right, Mr. Tito, you relieved. All right. Please watch your step as you exit the witness box. And I think this is a good point to go ahead and take our 15-minute recess. So we're going to take an earlier 15-minute recess today and then come back with the next witness. So court is going to stand in recess for 15 minutes. Thank you.
All rise. Court is recess.
Madam Clerk will bring in the chair. All right, welcome back, members of the jury. Counsel, please stipulate to the return of our jurors.
Your Honor, they will stipulate.
Defense stipulation.
All right, thank you so much. All right, I'll ask the prosecution to please call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Physician's Assistant Eric Black to stand, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Please enter the witness stand, remain standing. Please remain standing. Thank you. That's okay. Madam Clerk's going to put you to oath, okay?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or if you penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your full name, spelling your last name for the record.
Eric Black, B-L-A-C-K,
Please state your business address.
130 Division, 06418.
You may be seated. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, PA Black. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. As you can see, it's a little bit difficult to hear in this courtroom, so the more you can speak up, sit a little bit closer to the microphone, the better.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So, PA Black, where are you currently employed?
At Griffin Hospital Emergency Department.
Okay, and what is your position there?
I'm a physician assistant.
And how should I refer to you as?
You can call me PA Black or Eric is fine.
Okay. And where is Griffin Hospital located?
It's in Derby, Connecticut.
And for how long have you worked at Griffin Hospital?
8 years.
Which department do you work at Griffin Hospital?
The emergency department.
And please tell members of the jury your educational background, including any degrees you might hold.
I have a bachelor's degree in public health from Temple University and a master's in health science from Quinnipiac University.
And your work experience, please tell members of the jury about that.
I've worked at Griffin Hospital for 8 years in emergency medicine. Prior to that, I worked in urgent care for 2 years. I also work at St. Vincent's in the emergency department. Been there for about 3 years per diem.
And have you testified in court before today?
No.
Back in May of 2022, did you work at the emergency department at Griffin Hospital?
Yes, I did.
And on any given day and night, how many patients would you see?
My average is probably about 19.
19?
Mhm.
And what are your duties working at Griffin Hospital?
I see patients, I diagnose, treat a variety of illnesses that are acute, chronic, emergent, urgent. I do simple procedures like lacerations and I splint fractures, things like that.
If you could explain to the members of the jury how you work hand in hand with the doctors and nurses at Griffin Hospital.
So I technically work under the supervision of a doctor, but basically that just means the doctor has to be available for consultation. That could be by phone. Some patients I may present to the doctor, some I may not. The nurses we work as a team. I put in orders and they carry out the orders.
Directing your attention to May 15th, the early morning hours of May 15th of 2022. Do you recall working at Griffin Hospital on that day or morning?
I do.
And did there come a time when you treated a patient by the name of Faison Teal?
Yes.
May I approach counsel, Your Honor?
Yes, you may. Yes.
PA Black, showing you what's been marked as State 72 for ID purposes only. I'm going to show you this document. Please take a look at it. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that document as?
It is the electronic medical record Faison Teal.
And prior to testifying today, did you have an opportunity to review that documentation you're looking at?
I did.
And were those records made in the regular course of business of Griffin Hospital?
Yes.
And is it the regular course of business for medical personnel at Griffin Hospital to prepare such a document at or near the time a patient is treated?
Yes.
And are medical personnel under an obligation to record accurate notes?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to review State 72 for ID purposes only before testifying here today?
Yes.
And are these the same records that you reviewed in preparation for your testimony?
Yes.
I'd like to mark it as a full exhibit, Your Honor.
Attorney Smith?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, court will accept into evidence as a full exhibit, state 72. Thank you.
Okay, Black, handing you now back what's been marked as a full exhibit, state 72. You can now refer to this documentation as I ask you some questions.
Okay.
Okay, Black, just please identify when Faison Teal arrived at Griffin Hospital when you treated him that morning on May 15th of 2022.
I believe it was approximately, this says 1:18 a.m. he was registered, so that's usually about the time that they check in
Okay, and to your knowledge, you're referring to state 72. How was he brought into Griffin Hospital?
by ambulance.
And when he arrived at Griffin Hospital, to your knowledge, where did he go?
I believe he was brought directly to an exam room.
And when a patient is brought in, just in general, from an ambulance, it does an alert go into effect? How are you made aware that a patient is being brought in by ambulance?
So generally the EMTs will radio ahead what they're bringing in. And depending on the severity of the situation, we may prepare a room, we may prepare supplies, whatever the situation is. Then they'll usually be seen by a nurse and a multi-skilled tech first. They'll take vital signs, they'll put their information in the computer, everything like that. And then either myself or one of the physicians will see them after that.
Please explain to the members of the jury how you personally got involved in this case in treating Faison Teal.
So I was working that night and I was aware that there was a laceration coming in, and generally it's my duty to take care of all the lacerations and simple procedures. So I knew that they were coming in, and then once his name showed up on the board, I was aware what room he was in, so I went and saw him in the room.
Upon examining Faison, were you able to observe any wounds on his body?
Yes, he had a laceration to the left upper arm.
And when you use the word or term laceration, what does that mean?
It's a cut into the skin, usually linear in nature. Usually when I say laceration, it goes beyond the skin into the fatty tissue.
And you observed one laceration on his body?
Yes.
And again, where did you specifically see this laceration?
The left upper arm, I would call it the distal or the end of the left upper arm, like right about here.
Thank you for demonstrating. Please let the record reflect the witness is identifying on his own body, pointing to his upper arm where he observed the wound on Faison Teal.
Thank you. Record shall reflect.
And prior to that morning, had you had occasion to treat individuals who had had a similar laceration to Faison Teal?
Yes.
And based on your training and experience, would you label this laceration as a stab wound?
It was definitely a puncture type wound.
Were you able to tell based on what you observed what had punctured the skin?
It was definitely something sharp, relatively small. Yeah, that's all I could really tell.
Did you base that on your own personal observations as well as self-reporting by the patient, or both?
Well, a combination of both what the patient told me and what I was seeing.
I'm going to direct your attention to page 1 of State Exhibit number 72. Is this where your notes begin?
Yes.
And if I just may have one moment, Your Honor.
Certainly.
Is that your electronic signature that appears there as well as notes regarding the date and time of when the patient was seen?
Yes.
And in looking at State 72 on page 1, what does it reference where it says HPI wound laceration? What does that acronym HPI refer to?
History of present illness.
And can you please read what it says under chief complaint and stated complaint?
Chief complaint is wound/laceration. Stated complaint is stab wound near left elbow.
What's the difference between the two?
So the stated complaint is exactly word for word what the patient says, and then our chief complaint is kind of like a general term for what's going on. It's a wound or laceration.
Still looking at State 72 under where it says history of present illness and HPI narrative. It indicates here that the patient indicated he was cut with either a knife or a bottle. That was self-reporting.
Yes.
And where it says he has a 2-centimeter laceration to the medial aspect of the left distal upper arm, can you explain to members of the jury what that means again?
So it's the upper arm is considered above the elbow, and then this is the left distal is the end of the upper arm. The medial aspect is on the inside, so like right about here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Still on page 1 of that standing exhibit, what does it say under review of symptoms?
All systems reviewed and unremarkable, except as noted in HPI and below.
That term unremarkable, what does that mean?
Basically negative. So review of systems is like any other complaints, any other body system injuries. So what I'm saying here is that there's no other injuries or other symptoms other than what I noted in the HPI.
Directing your attention to page 4 into page 5 of State 72. Can you please read what it says underneath MDM wound laceration to yourself? What does MDM refer to?
It's medical decision making.
Okay. And where it indicates in that paragraph where it says laceration of the left upper arm. So when you observed Faison Teal's laceration, did you see anything coming out of that laceration? And if you did, please explain, describe what it was.
Yeah, there was fat tissue coming out.
Is that what is withdrawn? When skin is cut, is that the first layer of skin that comes out, or is
If
it?
you go below all the skin, you'll see fat. There's several layers of skin, and then the fat is underneath that. And usually that fat is under some degree of tension and held by the skin. So when the skin is cut, it kind of comes out of the wound.
Can you estimate how far into the skin something would have to cut in order for that fatty tissue to be exposed?
Everybody's a little bit different, but I would say probably maybe half a centimeter.
And where it indicates in State 72, underneath that MDM wound laceration paragraph, it indicates no evidence of any tendon injury, no signs of any vascular injury or muscular injury. What does that indicate?
So the wound was just into the fat, that there was no tendons cut, no muscle injury, no nerve injury. So he's able to move his arm, feel everything on his arm. There was no pulsatile bleeding. It seemed to just be a soft tissue injury.
Based on your experience, would it be possible for a patient who suffered an injury such as this to still experience some numbness or tingling after the injury, meaning
Sure.
even months after the injury?
Sure.
And why would that be?
Could be from superficial nerve damage, from swelling, just from a nerve injury that's not detected at the time.
Now, directing your attention to page 5 of State 72, to the start of the second paragraph, please explain what was done, or please read what was done to help mend the wound, the laceration.
Okay, so the wound was cleaned with sterile water and betadine. 2% lidocaine was used for local pain control. 5-3-0 nylon simple erupted sutures were used to approximate the wound. Patient tolerated it well. A sterile dressing was applied, and bacitracin was applied.
Did you personally suture Faison Teal's laceration?
Yes.
And betadine, what is that?
It's like a iodine-based antiseptic.
And the 5-3-0 nylon simple erupted sutures, what are those?
So 5 is the number of stitches. 3-0 is the diameter of the stitch. Nylon is the material the stitch is made of, and simple interrupted is the type of stitch.
Are those dissolvable stitches, or would the patient have to come back to get those removed?
They were not dissolvable, they'd have to be removed.
Now, you had indicated earlier that you saw some fat coming out of the laceration, the wound. Explain, did you have to, for all intents and purposes, lack of a better term, shove the fat back into the skin to suture it?
Yeah, usually as I partially close the wound, I start kind of tucking the fat back in. Sometimes if there's a lot, I may remove some of the fat to make it easier. Yeah, that's usually what we do, is push it back in.
And was Faison given any kind of local anesthetic or something to numb the pain while you were doing this?
Yes, that was the 2% lidocaine.
I'm going to direct your attention, still on page 5, where it says procedures. Laceration 1, site upper extremity. If you go down to pre-repair, it indicates wound explored, irrigated extensively, and deep sutures intact. When you say wound explored, irrigated intensively, what does that mean?
So that means I looked into the wound, I flushed it out with copious amounts of sterile water, and I felt that it did not go beyond the subcutaneous tissue and all the deeper structures like arteries, muscle, tendons, veins were intact.
PA Black, I'm going to show you what's been marked in State Exhibit 70. You have the screen in front of you over there. Can you see State 70 clearly on there?
Yes.
Okay. Does this indicate, is this a good picture or indicate what you did to suture Faison's arm?
Yes, this would be days or even a week later, I would estimate.
Okay. And these black marks on State 70, those black lines, are those the sutures that you used?
Yes.
And this reddish mark around the sutures, what is that?
So that's bruising, probably from bleeding under the skin and in the deeper tissue.
And again, showing you State 71. This is another photograph of the wounds. You see there that there is a measuring guide. Did that indicate how large the laceration was when you saw Faison on May 15th morning of 2022?
Yes.
And I don't know if you can see it. Now, PA Black, directing you back to States 5 under patient reevaluated, which I believe is after where you indicate what you did with the patient. It says patient was reevaluated. What was the purpose of that?
Just to make sure there was no additional injury that I may have missed, that there was no arterial injury, that he was still doing well, and to give him discharge instructions.
Okay, and it indicates that wound care procedures were discussed with him. He was he's given instructions, advised to see his doctor, and told to come back in 3 or 4 days for a wound check. Did that indeed happen? Do you know?
I don't know if that happened.
Is that 3 or 4 day check back? Would that be when the sutures would be removed, or would that be at a later time?
No, that would be at a later time. Sometimes I tell patients to come back in 3 or 4 days just to make sure it's not getting infected if I'm more concerned or if it was a deeper wound.
Under, again, State 72, referring to page 5, where it says differential diagnosis, it indicates likely laceration, abrasion, and avulsion of skin. What does avulsion of skin refer to?
That's skin that's cut away from the body or removed from the body.
Still referring to State 72, directing your attention to PCS discharge summary, page 1 through 5. If you continue, it's towards the back.
Yeah, I think I see it.
You see it? Referring to page 1, where it says PCS discharge summary, with reference where it says ED triage plan. It's a triage pain, rather. What does that mean, and what does it say?
So the triage pain is usually 1 to 10 on how severe the patient's pain is. Might be on the wrong page. Is that that's in the discharge instructions, or is it?
So I could just refer you to it. So it indicates ED triage pain present, pain reported, pain reporting scale 0 to 10, and indicates a 5. Was that a self-reporting from the patient?
Yes.
And that would be a medium pain level from the patient that reported that?
Yes.
Now, PA Black, regarding whether or not Faison Teal's blood was tested for anything at all, do you recall if his blood was tested for any kind of alcohol?
It was not.
Okay, and why was that decision made, or why was that not done?
I felt that he appeared clinically sober, and to me that means he's able to walk, able to speak, acting normally.
So is it fair to say it's not standard at Griffin Hospital to take somebody's blood when they're admitted into the hospital?
It depends. For something like this, a laceration to the extremity without any other major injury, I didn't feel that it changed my management.
And to your knowledge, how long did Faison Teal remain in the hospital? Do you know when he was discharged?
I believe it was around 2:20 or so is what it said on here.
That same morning?
Yes.
I just need one moment, Your Honor.
Of course.
Does 2:35 sound about right?
Yeah, I think that's the latest time I see on here. Yes.
Now, before he was discharged, did you indicate to him that if he experiences anything at all, to come back to the hospital? What would you have
Yeah.
told him?
If there was excessive pain, swelling, redness, numbness, tingling, if he couldn't move the arm, something like that.
As far as any kind of signs of infection, what would be indicative of signs of infection?
Spreading redness, excessive pain, discharge of pus, fever, stuff like that.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Attorney Smith?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, PA Black. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. We've never met before. Correct.
That is true.
And you're here today to tell us essentially about the treatment that you provided to Faison Teal, correct?
Yes.
And that treatment involved Mr. Teal arriving by ambulance around 1 o'clock, 1:15 in the morning, correct?
Yep.
You came in and saw him after he'd been brought in by the ambulance.
Mhm.
You had some information from that ambulance crew ahead of time to know a little bit about what you were going to be facing, right?
Yes.
And that information was that he had a 2 centimeter laceration to his upper left arm, right?
Yes.
And you confirmed that when you went in and actually met with him, correct?
Yes.
And that 2 centimeter wound, we saw a picture of what you did as far as sewing it up, correct?
Mhm.
And there was the reddish mark you described as bruising. That
Yeah.
wasn't there that night at the time, was it?
No.
What you saw was a 2 centimeter cut to the skin, correct?
Mhm.
You,
Mhm.
and then you told us that you hadn't tested his blood for alcohol that evening?
Right.
And that he discharged that same morning, a little bit over an hour after he came in to see you, correct?
Mhm.
To your knowledge, did he ever report back for any follow-up, or did he encounter any of the complications that you just described for us?
Not to my knowledge.
And it was your understanding from him, he told you he'd either been cut by a knife or a piece of glass, right?
Mhm.
He didn't know,
Right.
but he indicated he'd been involved in a fight.
Yes.
And that was all he told you about that, correct?
That's right.
And you weren't there to investigate what had gone on. You didn't ask any further questions about that,
No.
correct? In fact, all you were there to do was to tend to his wound, right?
Yes.
And you would describe that as a superficial cut to the skin, correct?
Yeah.
Not life-threatening in any way.
No.
And if this jury wanted to know, I appreciate it.
All right.
Anything
One
further?
follow-up, Your
Sure.
Honor. PA Black, superficial, what does that term mean in medical world?
I mean, to me, it means it's not going beyond the fat tissue.
Thank you.
You know.
Anything else?
Nothing further.
Thank you. You're discharged.
Thank you.
Just please watch your step as you exit the witness box. Is the state prepared to call its next witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
State will call Tommy Connery.
Thank you. Good morning. Come on up into the witness stand. Please watch your step as you enter the stand. Please remain standing. Madam Clerk to my right is going to put you under oath. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? Thank you. You state your full name, spelling your last name.
Thomas Connery, C-O-N-N-E-R-Y,
Please state your address.
39 Southern Lane, Shelton.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, Tommy.
Good morning.
If you don't mind, just sit close to that microphone, keep your voice up. The acoustics in here are pretty bad, so ladies and gentlemen need to hear you, okay?
Okay.
Tommy, how old are you?
Me, I'm 21.
And do you go to school?
Yes, I do.
Where do you go to school?
Central Connecticut.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying finance.
And are you working this summer?
Yes, I am.
What are you doing?
I'm self-employed. I work for myself. I do marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Prior to your testimony today, have you and I met?
Yes, we have.
Why have we met?
To discuss the case and what I saw.
So I want to direct your attention to May 14th of 2022. How old were you back then?
I was 18 years old.
And were you in school?
No, I was not in school then.
Where were you? So did you had just graduated high school?
Yes, I graduated in 2021.
Okay. And where did you go to high school?
Shelton High School.
And at some point in time on May 14th of 2022, were you hanging out over at Tyler Rich's house?
Yes, I was.
And around what time did you get there?
It was around, like, let's say 7 to 8 p.m. in that area.
And I'm just going to show you Stage 5. Do you know whose house that is?
Yes, that is Tyler Rich's house.
That's the house you went to on May 14th of 22.
Yes, it was.
And why'd you go there?
He told me to come over. We were going to hang out, just a little bit of us, some of my friends and some of the friends in his grade.
And when he said you wanted to hang out, what does that mean, hang out? What did you guys do there?
Well, we usually hang out in his basement, just a couple of us, and we would, just do normal stuff that, high school guys and graduate guys would do.
And how did you get to
I drove myself that night.
You did, okay. Showing you Stage 49. Do you remember where you parked?
Yes, by the far right red maple bush by the road.
So if I'm pointing at the Stage 49, you're talking about this red bush here?
Yes, that one.
Okay, so would you have parked on the side of the road?
Yes, that right there.
Would you be facing the driveway or facing away from the driveway?
Facing towards the driveway.
And when you got there, did you go in the house?
Yes, I did.
How'd you go in the house?
Every time I go there, going the same way. I went to the left side where the side door is, to the left of the garage.
And when you went into the house from the left side of the house, where did you make your way to when you got in the house?
I started off in the kitchen, greeted Tyler, and then we proceeded to go into the basement and hang out with the other kids that were there.
And when you got there, how many kids would you say were there at the time?
It was still relatively early, so I'd say around 10-ish, a little less.
And what kind of things were you guys doing in the basement?
Hanging out. We were just having a couple drinks.
Okay, when you say
guys.
a couple drinks, what do you mean by a couple drinks?
I had a few beers that night.
You had a few beers that night?
Yes, I did.
All right, and was anybody else drinking?
Yes, they were.
Were you provided alcohol, or was it like a bring your own?
I don't recall if I was or not, but
But you had 2 beers?
yeah, I would say so.
And at some point in time, did anybody else show up to the party?
Yes, later in the night, the younger kids showed up, which was Ryan Hines and Griffin.
Okay. All right, prior to that, let me show you this exhibit here. Stage 54. Do you know who that is?
Yes,
Who's that?
Faison Teal.
And was he at the party that night?
Yes, he was.
Showing you stage 56. You know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
Ryan Hines.
Was he there that night?
Yes, he was.
Show you stage 57. You know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
That's Jimmy McGrath.
And was he at the party?
Yes, he was.
How do you know Jimmy McGrath?
He was friends with my younger brother. They would hang out all the time. They hung out a lot when they were younger in middle school, and then as high school went along, they would hang out here and there.
And who's your younger brother?
Charlie Connery.
Was he at the party that night?
Yes, he was.
Tommy, do you know Ricky Fiola?
Yes, I do.
How do you know him?
I'm really good friends with him and his father and his mother. We grew up together once him and my brother met in middle school, maybe a little younger, 5th and 6th grade, and we became family friends through that.
And do you know if Ricky Fiola was at the party that night?
Yes, he was.
And how about Sal Perry?
Yes, he was there too.
You know him?
Yes, I do.
How do you know him?
Me and him, we grew up together playing baseball, Shelton American Little League.
How about Mike Sampieri?
Yes, I know him.
How do you know him?
He lives down the road from me my whole life.
Were they at the party?
Yes, he was.
Alex Bernstein, you know Alex Bernstein?
No, I do not know Alex Bernstein.
How about Jake Villalobos?
Yes, I know Jake Villalobos.
How do you know Jake?
We played football together when we were very young, and then I knew him from school from then on.
Was he at the party that night?
Yes, he was.
And how about Matt Lakovich?
Yes, he was
How
there.
do you know Matt?
I know him from baseball too. We started playing when we were young together.
Okay. Do you know if Matt was at the party?
Yes, he was.
Now you say that Griffin and how do you know Griffin?
He's really good friends with my brother too.
Okay. So Griffin and Ryan showed up at the party at some point?
Yes, they
Do
did.
you recall what time it was?
It was later. I would say 9:30, 10ish time.
And what was the lighting out like that night? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was nighttime, so it was a little bit darker, but it wasn't too dark. There was the moon was light, and his driveway has they had lights there too.
So when Ryan and Griffin showed up to the party, were you made aware of an incident that occurred at Lazy Brook Road?
Yes, I heard people saying that they were jumped at a St. Joe's party down the road in Lazy Brook.
Were you made aware that this happened prior to Ryan and Griffin getting to the party or after they arrived at the
After they arrived.
Were you aware about a group messaging or group chat?
No, I was not aware of that in the moment, no.
Are you aware of it now?
I am aware of it now.
After the fact?
Yes.
But at the time when Griffin and Ryan got to the party, was there any talk about a group messaging that was going on?
Nothing that I heard of, but I assume there was.
Now, at some point in time in the night, did individuals who were not invited to Tyler Rich's house show up?
Yes.
Can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you remember about that?
So people showed up in a Honda Pilot. They showed up and they were parked in the far side of the road across from the driveway, and they were facing down towards Farmhouse Lane.
So I'm going to show you States 30. Is this the car you saw that night?
Yes, that is.
And with regards to States 49, you said they parked in the road?
Yes, across from the driveway, but more towards the Adams Drive side.
So can you describe on States 49 where you actually saw them park?
So if you're looking, do you see the sewer grate on that side? The opposite of that. So
Here, so it would be over here?
nope, yep, right over there. Yep,
So they parked somewhere over here,
correct.
facing,
Down the road that way. Yep.
and when you when you heard that the car arrived, did you leave Tyler Rich's house?
Yeah, I walked out of the basement. I walked out through the Bilco doors because I heard there was people there that weren't invited, and everyone went outside. So I followed the crowd out there.
And when you went out the Bilco doors, where are the Bilco doors located?
On the far side of the house, you cannot see them in that image.
I'm going to show you States Exhibit 5. Can you see States Exhibit 5 where the Bilco doors would have been located?
Yeah. So if you see the AC unit to the right, they're behind that.
So right here,
Yes.
in this area behind the SHE unit?
Yep.
So if the record can reflect, he's pointing to the clearing in the area to the right side of the house in front of the blue truck where you can see an AC unit, and it would be behind the AC unit, I think is what he indicated.
Yes.
All right, record will reflect that, thank you.
So when you came out of the Bilco doors on the right side of the house, what path of travel did you go when you left the house in States 49? I'll put that back up there.
So I walked along the house line, so in that grassy area between the white and the blue truck.
Okay. And then you walked down the driveway?
Yeah, but not too far. I'd say I was sitting in the middle of it, standing.
Okay, and so you didn't walk all the way down the driveway?
No,
Why didn't you walk all the way down the driveway?
because I already saw there's some people in the road, and I didn't want to go and get involved.
How many people would you say were outside at that moment?
It was about outside or by the car.
Well, how about by the car?
Probably about 10-ish people,
And how many people were outside in total, do you think?
probably 20-ish.
So there were around 10 people near the car and another 10 people maybe.
Yeah,
right
more
where you
people in
were?
the driveway.
And did you, can you describe what the interaction was with regards to the people who were near the car?
So I just heard bickering back and forth. People were yelling, and it was loud. Did not hear exactly what it was, but that's all I was able to pick up from it. Just arguing.
And did you observe anything about, withdrawn, do you know who went and approached the car when you were
No,
outside?
I do not recall exactly who.
Okay. But they were your friends?
Yes, they were my friends.
And do you recall if, when they had this bickering back and forth with the individuals in the car, do you recall what, if anything, they were doing Did they do anything to the car?
Nothing that I saw, no.
Nothing that you saw? Do you recall if anything was being done from the car? towards
No, I
your
do not
friends?
recall of anything.
At some point in time, well, withdrawn, how long did the back and forth bickering last for?
Probably a good 5 minutes.
And at some point, did the car leave?
Yes, the car sped away very fast.
Can you describe what happened as the car sped away?
So the car drove down the road towards that way, and it sped off like full speed, full throttle.
And if I'm pointing to States 1 that's behind you, I think you have a pointer near you. Can you show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where it sped off to?
So it was here, right here,
Yep.
and it sped off this way.
Okay. So the record can reflect he was motioning down Laurel Glen Drive towards Farmhouse Lane.
Record shows that we've left.
Okay, and at some point in time, where were you when you saw the car drive away?
When I was driving away, I was still in the driveway in this area.
Okay, and when the car drove down the street, did you move at that point to see where the car had gone?
No, I went back into the house at this point.
And when you went back into the house, how'd you go back into the house?
Through the Bilco doors the way I came in.
Okay, and when the car sped off down the street and you went back into the house, what did you do when you went back inside the house?
I was just talking to my friends, like, what was going on out there? Like, it's over now, let's go back inside and hang out.
So did you hang out inside for a little bit?
Yeah, I would say 2 minutes.
And were you guys drinking still?
No, there was no drink at this point. It was so brief between the incident that went outside.
Prior to you going back inside the house, do you recall seeing the car drive back towards the house at any point?
No.
Okay. At some point in time, you say you're hanging out inside the house. Do you exit the house again?
Yes, I do.
And why do you do that?
They said they were down the road just sitting waiting, and that people didn't leave yet, and they were still on the road. So I went outside to see what was going on, and I walked out through the Bilco doors.
And when you went out through the when you went out through the Bilco doors, what path of travel did you go? If you can show me in States 49. Or yeah, you can use that too.
Yeah, so I went out this way. I went along the tree line here, and then I was right here.
Okay, so if we're looking at States 49, then you walked along the tree line here, and you were kind of on the side of the road near this red bush where your car was parked?
Correct.
Okay, and you looked down the street,
Yeah, I looked down the street, yes.
and what, if anything, did you observe down the street?
I just saw a bunch of people in the road, and it immediately just made me think, what is going on? And I just didn't want to entertain it, so I went back inside again.
Prior to the car going down the street, did you recognize anybody in the car from your vantage point in the driveway?
Yes, when I was in the driveway, I saw the kid Jack Snyder was driving it, and Lido Valle was in the back seat behind the driver's seat.
And when you say Lido Valle, does he have another name?
Yes, his real name is Raul Valle.
And is Raul Valle present in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is.
And what is he wearing?
He's wearing a black suit with a black tie.
Can you point him out for the?
Yes, that's him right there.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
Record can reflect the witness identified, Mr. Valley, thank you.
And so when you noticed, are those the only people you noticed in the car?
Yes, those are the only people I was able to notice.
Do you know whether or not there were other people in the car?
Yes, there was other people in the car.
But you couldn't see who
I
they
could
were?
not see who, no.
So now the car's down the street, you're watching down the street, and you're thinking to yourself, what's going on?
Yeah, I was like, what is this going on right now?
Could you tell who was outside the car down the street?
No.
Do you know whether or not anybody from your group of friends was down the street?
There were people, but I was not able to identify who.
Okay. And how long would you say you were watching what was going on down the street?
Maybe 30 seconds.
And after 30 seconds, what did you do?
I went back inside to the Bilco doors.
And when you went back inside, what were you doing inside at that point?
The same thing, just kind of talking to the people about what's going on and saying that they're still out there. People are just in the road.
Okay. And how long would you say you were inside at that point?
Probably another 2 to 5 minutes.
And at some point in time, did you exit the house for any reason?
Yes, I later exited through the Bilco doors.
And why did you do that?
I heard they came back and they were back in front of the house parked.
And when you left the house, did you go outside the Bilco doors again?
Yes, I did.
And when you left the Bilco doors, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what path of travel you walked outside the house.
So I walked out through the Bilco doors here and went right to the under the street area.
Okay, so if we're looking at States 49 again, you were under the street area here,
Correct?
right? And that would be the area in front of the blue truck in States 49.
Yes.
At some point in time, did you make your way over anywhere else in States 49?
No, not until a fight broke out.
What did you observe when you walked out of the house on May 14th of 2022?
I noticed that there was a group of Shelton kids face to face with who was Raul Valle and Tyler Silva.
And do you recall what they were wearing that night?
Who, my friends or the other kids?
What was Tyler Silva wearing?
He was wearing a blue, like a baby blue jersey.
And do you recall what the defendant was wearing?
Same color, but a t-shirt.
I'm going to show you stage 6, just so we understand what you're talking about here. Can you pinpoint where you were standing when you observed stage 6, when you observed the initial?
Yeah, so I was standing in front of the blue truck by that mulch pile.
Okay, so if I point right here,
Yes, sir, right there.
so if the record can reflect in front of the blue truck in stage 6, there is a brown mulch pile just to the left of the red bush, but obviously it's behind the red bush.
Court will note it on the record. Thank you.
So in regards to stage 6, can you tell us where the defendant and De Silva were standing?
Yeah, they were standing to the road side of the red bush facing Shelton kids.
Right around here?
Yes.
Okay, so the left, so below the red bush to the left, down in this area here.
Correct. Maybe a little more to the right for apparently, but
Right
yeah.
around here?
No, left more a little bit. Yeah, right there. There.
Okay, so the record can reflect on pointing to the left lower hand portion of the exhibit, which is in the grass area, which is down to just slightly below and to the left of the red bush.
All right, court will allow the record to reflect that. Thank you.
And when you saw the defendant and Mr. De Silva in the yard, where were they standing? Were they close to each other?
Yes, they were close.
And who was on the right, who was on the left? Do you remember?
The driveway side was Tyler Silva, and the other side was Lido Valle.
And do you recall if any of your friends had approached them?
They approached my friends, and my friends were, yes, face to face with them.
And do you recall who out of your friends were face to face with them?
So from the driveway starting, then going to the left, from the driveway was Tyler Rich, then Tyler Wood, and then Ryan Hines at the time, who I believe was my brother.
And you thought Ty Woods was your brother at the
No,
time?
I thought Ryan Hines was my brother in that moment.
Okay. And who was Ryan Hines and Ty Wood closer to?
They were closer to Lido.
Okay. And Ty Rich, who was he closer to?
Tyler De Silva, I'd say.
And when did you observe them interacting?
Yes, they were.
What was the interaction like?
It was just talking back and forth, arguing at first.
They were arguing?
It was, yeah, they were talking. They weren't being,
Was it peaceful?
I guess so, maybe. Not really, they were just arguing, so I wouldn't say peaceful, no.
Okay. And do you recall what they were arguing about?
No, I could not hear exactly what it was.
You just saw arguing.
Yes.
And when you were witnessing the arguing, can you explain how long the arguing took place for?
For the time that I was there, it was about 20 seconds, and then there was movements.
Okay, can you describe what happens when there's movement?
Yes, so it looked as Lido Valle was to go make a punch, and then someone from Shelton threw a punch and hit him.
Do you recall who punched him?
No, I didn't, but it was someone on the right side.
But you say you recall watching the defendant make a move.
Yes, his body jolted like he was going to do something.
Can you show us physically what you saw? Like, can you see?
Yeah, he was like this, and then he just like went back.
He like cocked like he was
Yeah,
gonna.
it's like that, yes.
Okay. With his right hand, he cocked with his right hand.
Yes.
Now, after you said someone from Shelton threw a punch.
Yes,
Do
as
you
that
know who
was
they
going on.
punched?
Do I know who he punched?
Yeah.
Yes, Lido.
Okay. And when that happened, can you describe what happened next?
Yeah, so right when that happened, I knew there was a fight breaking out. So I ran over from the mulch pile into that fight. And then as that happened, I went to the far left which was Ryan Hines was standing, and I pushed him and Lido were going at it at that moment. I pushed him and Lido away from each other, but I ended up taking his place. So now it was Lido and me face to face with each other.
Why did you run over into the fight?
Well, one, because I immediately thought he was my brother, since he was standing next to Ty Wood, who's my brother's best friend. And I knew that there was a fight going on, and I didn't want to see people fighting.
So, what did you witness about the interaction between the defendant and who you now know as Ryan Hines prior to you going over?
They were just tussling, just pushing each other and on hand movement, no full punches.
Now, prior to you going over to push Ryan Hines out of the way, did you have a weapon on you when you went over?
No,
there?
I did not.
Now, when you went over, you thought Ryan was your brother.
Yes.
When when you said you took his place?
Yes.
What does that mean? Describe what
I
happened.
pushed him and Lito away from each other, and as that happened, I kind of mostly pushed Ryan, and I was now face to face with Lito, and he was to the side of me.
Okay, so when you say face Lito, are you like this?
Yes.
Okay, so you push Ryan out of the way with, you get in between them, push
Yeah,
Ryan
get in
out of the way?
between them. Yes.
Now, when you push Ryan out of the way, describe what happens next.
So me and him had made, now me and Raul had made eye contact, and he slipped back, so he was kind of down like waist level with me.
So he was like on like a knee?
Yeah, something like that. Not a knee, but bent over.
Okay.
Like he was slipping, holding himself up. And he looked at me, and then he proceeded to, at the time I thought he was punching me in the leg, which he was stabbing me.
So wait, so I want you to, can
You want me to demonstrate?
Yeah, let's demonstrate. Can you step down here?
That's fine.
Okay, so if I'm you, and I'm standing like this?
Yes.
Okay.
He's like this. Like, not here like this.
1, okay, 2, 3, okay. At the time when he was hitting you in your left leg,
Yes.
did you know you were being stabbed?
Yeah, I was able to feel like almost like a sharp pop, but I didn't acknowledge it was a stab. I didn't know in the moment, but I did feel stronger than a fist.
Okay. And at that point in time, when that happened and you had withdrawn, did the defendant hit you more than 4 times at that point?
Not that I know, no.
And after he hit you 4 times, what happened next?
So as he was hitting me, I was pushing him away, trying to get him to stop hitting me.
How were you trying to push him away?
Do you want me to just demonstrate
Yeah.
it? So if you were on me, I'm like this.
Yeah.
Heinz is here in this moment.
Yeah.
And I was like this, get off, like that.
And did the defendant move away from you at that point?
After the times he was punching me and him for some reason just separated. The fight just stopped, and I just walked back, and he walked away towards the road.
Okay, and what did you do next? Well, withdrawn, do you recall where the defendant went to after that?
No, but he went towards the curbside.
Okay, and after you and him separated, what do you recall about the things you went through after that?
So in that moment, I kind of just stood there and sat around I was in shock. My body, I didn't really have anything that I fully did after that I could, recall. I was just sitting there. My body was bleeding, and I was just looking around, like trying to soak in what's going on.
Did you realize you were bleeding? When did you realize you were bleeding?
When the car eventually drove away, I realized I was bleeding.
And when you realized you were, who did somebody bring it to your attention that you were bleeding?
No, I brought it to my attention because I knew it was drizzling out, but I didn't think it was pouring. And I was like, why is my leg soaked? I feel like I'm covered in water. And then I took a flashlight out from my phone and I put it on my leg. And then I realized my leg from my quad all the way down to my ankle was covered in blood. There was no skin to see, and my shoes were covered in blood.
And when you realized that you were, stabbed at that point, what happened?
I immediately was like, I need stitches. And then I dropped to my right hip and laid there waiting for people to come over.
And who came over to help you when you dropped to your hip?
The first person there was my cousin, Will Berardi.
Your cousin Will Berardi?
Yes.
And did he render aid to you?
Immediately, no. I was like, call 911, call 911.
And did somebody call 911?
Yes, he called 911.
And when he was calling 911, did you notice anything else about your surroundings?
So when I was on my legs, I was on my right side, laying down like this, looking up towards Will, saying, call 911. And I looked over to my left, and I saw Jimmy McGrath standing there by himself by the basketball hoop.
And what did you notice about Jimmy McGrath?
He was standing there by himself, and I was like, Jimmy, are you okay? And there was no response, but he slowly pulled up his shirt to see that he had a blood coming out. And as I looked at that, I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And there was no response, and he collapsed to the floor. Like, he didn't put himself down, he just fell.
And when he fell, what, if anything, happened next?
People started running over to him because I was like, Jimmy's not okay. And he sat there and bled out for a while.
Now, When you were fighting, when the defendant was hitting you in the leg, did you observe any type of weapon at that point?
I saw something black in his hand, but I didn't realize it was a knife or anything. I didn't think anything of it. But I saw a hole in his hand as like a black spot.
And did you notice any of your other friends that were injured that night? Did you notice, did you see any of them get stabbed?
No, I did not.
And when Jimmy fell to the ground, did you say anything to your friends with regards to helping Jimmy?
I was telling people to go help him, yes.
Okay. And did people in fact go help him?
Yes, they did.
And at some point in time, did 911, did somebody call, did first responders arrive at the scene?
Yes, first responders arrived sometime later.
And when they arrived at the scene, tell us what happened. What did you observe?
So the officer came up to me and he was asking me if I needed some assistance. And he gave me a tourniquet and he put a tourniquet on my leg, as I already had some homemade tourniquets on my leg.
Yeah, moving your arm. You have approach your arm?
Yes.
I'm gonna help you.
I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 77 for identification. You recognize 77?
Yes, I do.
And what is State 77?
It is me on the ground with a tourniquet on my leg and another homemade tourniquet and stab wounds.
Is this a screenshot or a picture of what your leg looked like on the night in question?
Yes, it is.
I'll show you State 73. Recognize 73?
Yes, I do.
What is 73?
That is my leg sometime later, weeks later.
And is this a good representation of what your leg looked like weeks later after the incident?
Yes.
I'll show you State 74. Recognize 74?
Yes, I do.
What is State 74?
That is my leg in November, I believe, this recent November.
And does that accurately reflect what your leg looks like?
Yes.
After post-injury in relation to this case?
Yes, it does.
State 75, do you recognize 75?
Yes, that is my leg the next morning.
The next morning after this incident?
Yes.
Okay, and does this picture accurately reflect what your leg looked like the next morning?
Yes, it does.
State 76, do you recognize 76?
Yes, I do.
And what is 76?
It is my leg a month later, still bleeding.
And does this accurately reflect what your leg looked like a month to the day after the incident on
Yes.
May 14th? State 78, you recognize 78?
Yes, I do.
And what is state 78?
That's my leg a couple days later, bruised and bleeding.
And does this accurately reflect what your leg looked like after the incident a few days later?
Yes.
State 79, you recognize state 79?
Yep.
And what is state 79?
That's my leg in November, this recent November.
This recent November? And
Yes.
does this accurately reflect what the left side of your leg looks like from this past November?
Yes, it does.
It finally states 80, do you recognize 80?
Yes.
And what is states 80?
This is my leg recent November too.
And does this accurately reflect what the, the back portion of your left leg looked like
Yes.
this past November? Your Honor, I would offer these exhibits as full exhibits.
No objection.
All right, with no objection, court will go ahead and enter into evidence as full exhibit states 73 through 80. Thank you.
Now, prior to your testimony today, were you able to review a video in relation to this case?
Yes.
And that video, in reviewing that video, do you recall whether or not that video was shot at the beginning of the fight, or in the middle of the fight, or at the end of the fight?
It was middle towards the end, was not the beginning.
And in your review of the video of the fight, do you know whether or not when this video starts, based on your review of it, can you determine if you were already stabbed at this point, or are you stabbed during the video or after the video?
I believe I was stabbed before the video.
Before the video
Yes.
starts? Okay. Can we just-
Yes, sir!
So when that video starts, the fight had already been going on?
Yes.
How long did the fight go on for, do you think, in total?
Total,
Yeah.
45 seconds to a minute, if that.
So that video was about 17 seconds. There was about maybe 30 seconds that happened prior to the video start.
Maybe a little less, 20.
You know, we just went over these pictures and wanted to give a quick opportunity to mark. I'm going to show you them now. I'm going to show you what's been marked in State's Exhibit 77. You see 77, Tommy?
Yes, I do.
So was this picture taken the night that you got stabbed at Tyler Rich's house?
Yes.
And I see that there's these things on your legs here and here. Can you tell us what these are?
Yeah, so the black one is a tourniquet that was provided by the police officer.
It's right here?
Yes.
Okay.
And the one on the left, right there, that is my t-shirt.
So you took your t-shirt off,
Yes, when I went to the ground, I took my t-shirt off.
and when the cops got there, they put the top one on?
Yes.
I may have a moment, Your Honor. Tommy, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 24. That's been marked as a full exhibit. Do you see that?
Yes.
What is State's 24? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that is my shirt, one shoe, and one sock.
Okay, you see how it looks like it appears to be ripped.
Yes.
Why is it ripped?
So at first, we only knew there was one stab wound. So what we did was we needed to cover them up and try to cover as many as we can.
So you took your shirt off, you wrapped part of it around you, and at some point was that left on the front lawn of 43 Lower
Yes.
Okay. I just want to go through these pictures with you. This is State 73. What time of year was this taken?
This was weeks later. I would say this is probably the last week of May, 2 weeks after it.
You don't have any stitches in your leg. How come?
The doctor only gave me 2 stitches. He gave one on the really big one and then one on the top left one because they said my wounds were too deep and they were dirty, so they could not stitch them properly.
So they wanted, what was the purpose? Do you know the purpose of leaving them on?
So I wouldn't get infected to stay clean.
State 75. When was this picture taken?
This was the next morning.
And looks like here, your left quad is affected.
Yeah, it's bulged up and swollen and bleeding.
State 78. When was this picture taken?
That's a couple days later. That's bruising and still bleeding.
State's 76.
That's
Actually has the date on
yeah, so that's in 1 month later and I was still bleeding in that top one.
it. State 79. This was taken this past November.
Yeah, so that's the entrance wound where the scar is, and then above it is the deformed quad from the actual wound right there.
So do you have an issue with your left quad as a result of this?
Yeah, it's deformed. There's no lower left part of the quad.
So if you look at yourself in the mirror, and you look at your legs,
They're very imbalanced, yes.
they're very imbalanced.
Yes, the right one is bigger than the left one.
Do you work out?
Yes,
How often do you work out?
5 or 6 days a week.
Have you hit legs hard?
Been trying.
Yeah. And has it done any difference as a result of this?
Nope.
States 80. It's the rear portion of your leg. Again, scarring as a result of this incident.
Yep. And then you can see the indent
Past
too.
November.
Yep, and you could also see the indent in the leg.
And this is state 74. This is the most recent
Yeah.
picture of your scarring. Now, with regards to your friends that were at the Rich's house that night, when you were outside and the fight broke out, how many people would you say were outside at that moment?
10 to 15.
And how many people were actually involved in the fight?
From what I saw, it only looked like 3.
Fair to say that everybody else not involved?
Yeah, in the
What were they
beginning.
doing? Do you know what they were doing just prior to the fight?
No, I did not.
Do you know what they were doing during the fight?
No, not during the fight, but I just seen the video. I seen more.
It appears, what does it appear most people are doing?
Most people are sitting watching.
And with regards to the lighting that night, when the fight, just before the fight started and during the fight, we were able to see in front of you,
Yeah, I was able to see in front of me.
you could recognize people you knew.
Yeah, I was able to recognize faces.
Did anybody have any lighting or cameras or anything else out?
Yeah, there was flashlights on.
Do you recall if anybody, we know now that there was a video of the fight, do you recall in the moment though, was anybody videoing it?
No, I did not know it was being videoed.
Mr. State 61, this is a still shot from the video you just watched. Have you seen this before?
Yes, I have.
And this individual right here with the white shirt and pink shorts, with the phone in their hand, do you know who this is?
Yeah, that looks like Ricky Fiola.
States, State 63. You've seen this still shot, but in the video?
Yeah.
This individual here with the green sweatshirt,
Yeah, that's Ryan Hines.
Ryan Hines. Who's
Yep.
this person here with the, to the right of Ryan Hines with the white shirt and black shorts?
Sal Perry.
This guy here with the jeans on and no shirt on, do you know who that is?
Oh, that's Alex Bernstein.
This guy right here with the black shirt, red hat, and jeans, do you know who that is?
Yeah, it's Michael Samperi.
Do you know who this is on their knees with their shirt pulled up?
Yeah, that's Tyler De Silva.
Do you know Tyler De Silva?
No, I do not.
Did you know him before that night?
I knew of him from his cousins. I knew his cousins.
Okay. And where did you know his cousins from?
I grew up playing baseball with them.
Let me show you State 64. You know who this individual is right here on the right with the white shirt, black shorts?
Yeah,
Who's that?
that's my brother.
And again, 65. Is that your brother?
Yes.
66. Do you know who this individual is? Looks like just to the right of Ryan Hines with the white shirt, tan shorts.
Yeah, that Jacob Villalobos.
And this guy right here with no shirt on, with what appears to be camouflage shorts and white shirt hanging up the back.
Yeah, that's Matthew Lockovich.
And this guy right here with the blue shirt, white pants. You know who that is?
Yes,
Who's that?
Jimmy McGrath.
This is State 67. Again, this person who appears to be shoving somebody, you know who that is?
Yeah, that's Jacob Villalobos.
State 68. This guy right here with the jeans on and the shirt pulled up, going towards the street. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, that's Tyler De Silva.
How about this individual here to his left?
That's Raul Valle.
That's the defendant.
Yes, it is.
And 69. The individual in the street. You know who that is?
Yes,
Who is that?
that's Tyler De Silva.
And the individual standing right here to the left in the dark shirt and white pants. Do you know who that is?
Yes,
Who is that?
that's Jimmy McGrath.
Now, as a result of your wounds from May 14th of 2022, can you tell us about what other treatment you had to go through? Tell us what about your recovery.
So the first night in the hospital, I was there for some time, and I wanted to stay the night because they weren't giving me stitches. So I thought I was going to bleed out. I didn't know. I'm not a doctor, so I didn't know how much blood is too much blood. So I was very scared, and I wanted to stay in the hospital. But they told me I was going to be good to go home. So they gave me the 2 stitches after asking, and they sent me home. And then exactly 1 week later after the incident, I stood up and I passed out and had to go back to the hospital.
And what happened when you went back to the hospital?
They had to, retreat me, just clean me up, and they told me that I was really deficient in iron in my blood, so that's why I was passing out. So I had to go back and get that.
Do you know why you were deficient in iron?
No, but I'm assuming it's from lack of blood, lost blood.
And what was your recovery time like as far as were you able to walk right away?
I was in a wheelchair for some time, I think 7 to 10-ish days, and then I was crutching around after, and I was crutching for a while. I couldn't walk for over a month, maybe like about a month.
And were you bedridden at all?
I was bedridden for 3 weeks, no movement. I couldn't bend my leg. It was stiff, and when all the bruising was happening, I couldn't do anything.
And you're in fact still bleeding a month later?
Oh, yeah.
Show your State's Exhibit 55. You know who that individual is?
Yes, that's me.
And do you recall about when this picture was taken?
A couple days later, maybe the next day.
Now, have you had any other effects as a result of this besides the physical effects?
Mentally, I mean, it was really hard to get through for the first month. My parents would try to help me, and I was telling them to get off of me. I wanted to try to do things on my own, but I couldn't. So I was frustrated with everybody around me, and then frustrated when I was trying to start to learn to walk again. And mentally, I mean, it hurts, but that's really it.
And on May 14th of 2022, did you give any type of statement to the police that night, or did you do it the next day?
I did the next day.
And was that the only statement you gave in regards to this case?
No.
You gave multiple statements?
Yeah, I gave 2.
And what you told police, is it any different today than what you told police back then?
I'm mistaken that I mistake my brother with Ryan Hines.
No further question, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Attorney Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Connery.
Good afternoon.
We've never met before.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Sorry it is under these circumstances. I want to go over your testimony and just review a few things. But let's start kind of close to where we left off with some of these photographs, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to show you what has been marked with State's Exhibit 63. You see that on your screen there?
Yes, I do.
And you identified this person as being Ryan Hines, correct?
Yes.
And he's wearing black shorts with a white stripe, you would agree?
Yeah.
And a green hooded sweatshirt.
Yes.
And this person next to him, you identified that person as being Sal Perry.
Yes.
And the person on the ground, you identified that as being Tyler De Silva, correct?
Correct.
You told us before that Mr. Hines was fighting with Mr. Valle, correct?
Yes, I did.
And in this photo, you'd agree that Mr. Hines is actually over near Mr. De Silva, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, you can't see Mr. Valle in that picture, can you?
No.
Do you see your brother?
Oh, not that one, no.
That's Bernston here.
Yes.
And then I'm going to show you what is State's Exhibit 64. You still see Alex Bernston there?
Yep.
Correct. You see Ryan Hines here, correct?
Correct.
And you see your brother here, correct?
Correct.
Where are you at the time this picture was taken?
So I am behind that crowd, towards the car, not towards the curb, but behind that crowd. So away from the driveway.
You are behind this crowd towards the driveway?
No, no, no. Like directly behind that crowd. Like you cannot see me.
Closer to the pile of mulch that you described earlier?
No, 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 no. Like if towards the other property line. So directly behind it from our point of view. The pile of mulch is to the left in this angle.
Okay. This is your brother Charlie here,
Correct.
and you are somewhere behind Charlie and this other unidentified individual?
No, I'm behind the Alex Bernstein angle.
You think you're behind Alex Bernston?
Yes,
How far behind him do you think you were at that time?
5 to 10 feet.
Did you see Faison Teal?
No, I did not.
Did you see Faison at any point that evening?
No. Well, during the evening, yes, but not during the fights.
And you see Mr. De Silva in this photo, correct?
Yeah, you could see him a little bit.
You see that Mr. Bernston appears to have his hand somewhat on Mr. De Silva, right?
Yes.
And when this photo was taken, you're behind Mr. Bernston.
Yes.
Where was Mr. Valle?
In the moment he was towards the road.
He was towards the road.
Yes.
And who was around Mr. Valle?
I do not recall.
But you recall seeing Mr. Valle?
Yes.
Was he by himself?
After he was with me, I do not know where he went besides towards the road.
So when this photograph is taken, or with the image captured here, this is a still shot from the video, right?
Yes.
This image captured here, you think you had already separated Mr. Hines from Mr. Valle at that point?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So at this point, Mr. Hines has already been stabbed?
Yes.
You've already been stabbed?
Yes.
When you were stabbed over behind Mr. Bernston?
Yes.
And then after Mr. Hines was stabbed, he got up and he came over to the fight where Mr. De Silva was?
That's what it looks like, yes.
Is that what you saw?
No, I didn't see him.
And at this point, are you already laying down on the ground on your right
No.
hip?
I'm not.
What are you doing at this point?
Standing in the back, just in shock.
I'm going to show you now States 65. Can you see that on your screen?
Yes, I can.
And you still see Mr. Hines here with the black shorts and the green hooded sweatshirt?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us who's beside him?
No, I can't tell on that.
This is your brother, Charlie.
Yes.
Who's behind him?
I think that is Joey Romano.
Joey Romano. Where is Will Berardi in this picture?
Nowhere to be found.
Now I'm going to show you States 66. Do you see that photo?
Yes.
Do you see Mr. Hines here with the black shorts and the green hooded sweatshirt?
Yes, I do.
And he's still standing over top of Mr. De Silva, who's blocked by Mr. Villalobos and
Yes.
Mr. Lakovich, correct?
Yes.
And you see Jimmy McGrath here to the right, correct?
Yes.
Wearing a navy blue shirt and white shorts, correct?
Correct.
That evening, you yourself were wearing a dark shirt, correct?
Yes.
Was it navy blue?
Yes, it was.
Did it have anything on it?
Not that I recall, no.
No graphic on the back?
Nope.
And Mr. Hines, black shorts with the white trim at the bottom?
Yes.
And you would agree that this is showing Mr. Villalobos is shoving Mr. De Silva into the road, correct?
Yes.
And do you see a figure here with a dark shirt on?
Yes.
Do you think that could be you, sir?
Not that I know, no.
You see what you think is Mr. McGrath here to the right again, correct?
Yes.
And you testified here that you were only engaged in fighting with Mr. Valle, correct?
Correct.
You were never engaged in the fight that was going on with Mr. De Silva,
No, it was
correct?
not.
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning of the night, all right? You told us that you'd started out hanging out over at Tyler Rich's house sometime between 7 and 8 p.m., right?
Correct.
Because he had told you to come over and hang out at that time, right?
Correct.
When you got there, you went down to the basement after going first to the kitchen,
Yes.
correct? What did you do in the kitchen?
Said hi, greeted each other.
Who was there in the kitchen?
I don't recall exactly, but a couple of our friends.
Okay. Was there any drinking going on in the kitchen?
No.
You said you went down to the basement and just normal things were going on, correct?
Correct.
And those normal things, that involved drinking down there, right?
Correct.
You would typically go over to Mr. Rich's house and there would be underage drinking going on, right?
Yes.
And you couldn't tell us, you didn't recall who provided that liquor, correct?
No, I cannot recall.
But you said you think you had 2 beers, right?
Yeah.
Just 2.
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yes.
How can you be so sure that it was only 2?
That's what I recall.
Could it have been more? And you said when you got there that there were 10 kids there, right?
Yes, about.
Were there any drinking games being played downstairs?
No.
Just music, hanging out,
Yeah, music,
drinking some
hanging out.
beers. Did anybody have anything other than beers?
Not that I know of, no.
And you said that later that night, younger kids showed up, right?
Correct.
And those younger kids were Griffin Marcinzik and Ryan Hines, right?
Yes.
And you had some inkling, did you not, that they were on their way over because your brother Charlie had picked them up to bring them there, right?
He did, but I did not know that.
He didn't let you know ahead of time, hey, I'm
No.
picking these folks up?
Nope.
Had Charlie been at 43 Laurel Glen Drive at any point prior to bringing Mr. Marcinzik and Mr. Hines?
Yes, I believe so.
While you were also there?
I believe so, yes.
So you were there, he was there, he left at some point to go get Ryan and Griffin.
Yes.
He didn't tell you he was leaving to go and
No.
get them. But you had seen him there that night, right?
Yeah, I've seen him there.
Was he also drinking?
Not before he left.
Not before he left.
No.
After he left, he was drinking?
I guess. Maybe.
Well, did you see him drink?
No, I did not.
So you don't know whether or not he was
No, I do
drinking?
not know.
You assume he was drinking because that's what was typically done. at
Yeah,
that
I
bar.
assume. Yeah.
Anybody ever drink to the point of getting sick there?
No.
Not on that night.
Not on that night, no.
That is the shirt and a shoe that you were wearing that night, correct?
Yes.
That is State's Exhibit 24. And what color shorts were you wearing that night?
I think gray.
And are those gray shorts you were wearing reflected here in State's Exhibit 77?
Yes.
Are they some sort of a sweatsuit material?
Yeah, they're cotton.
You identified for us earlier a couple of photographs. I'm showing you right now with State's Exhibit 57. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And you identified that as being Jimmy McGrath, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. McGrath is wearing the same shirt and shorts as we see later on in the video, correct?
Yeah.
You weren't there when that photo was taken, were you?
No.
Do you know whose home that is?
Yes,
Whose home is that?
that's Mr. Jesus' home.
Mr. DeJesus' home?
Yes.
And who is he to you?
He is a family friend and a father figure to people.
Okay. He's a family friend and a father figure to people. How old is he?
I don't know. I don't know his age. I'd say the 50s.
Mr. DeJesus is in his 50s.
Yeah.
And is this also a place where drinking goes on a regular occasion?
Yes.
You see a Bud Light there in the photograph?
Yeah.
You weren't there that night at Mr. DeJesus'?
No.
Do you know Tanner Chernowski?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Tanner Chernowski?
We grew up playing football together when we were young.
Did you see him there that night?
I do not recall seeing him, no.
You don't recall seeing Mr. Chernowski that evening?
No.
Do you hear him in the video that we watched of the fight?
In the video?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you hear him doing in that video?
Saying, yes, sir.
Do you recall hearing him say that when the fight was going on?
No.
So, Mr. Hines and Mr. Marcinzik show up with your brother around what time?
I would say 9:30, 10-ish.
And once they arrived, shortly thereafter, you learned that Mr. Hines claimed that he had been jumped over at a party earlier that night at 5 Lazy Brook Road, right?
Yes, I heard that.
And what was the reaction of the folks in the basement at that point?
Who did it?
I'm sorry?
Who jumped you? Why were you jumped?
So they started to ask, who did it?
Yeah, who and why?
And then once they asked who did it, shortly thereafter, they started texting the people that they thought did it, correct?
That's what I heard, but I did not know that night.
You didn't see anybody texting?
No, I did not know there was
You
a
didn't
text thread.
hear from anybody that, hey, we're trying to get these kids to come over here?
No, I did not know that.
You didn't see Griffin Marcinzik taking a photograph of the address and sending it out on a group chat?
No.
Did you see Griffin Marcinzik that evening?
Yes, I did.
What did you see him doing?
He was in the basement hanging out.
Just hanging out?
Yes.
You didn't see him on his phone?
I mean, everybody's always on their phone. He was probably on it. That's what I thought.
Did you see him on it?
Not that I recall, no.
And you don't recall Mr. Marcinzik, Mr. Hines, your brother telling you that they were texting with these kids that they claimed did this to them?
No, I did not know there was a text.
Did you hear from anybody that they were trying to get these kids to come there?
Not that I know of, but probably, yeah. I'd say that.
What do you mean, not that you know of, but probably, yeah?
That people were talking about that there was something going on, but I didn't know exactly that they were getting them to come over.
What did you think they were talking about when they said something was going on?
I was staying out of it. I'm not involved in the younger kids' situation.
That was just the younger kids' situation?
It wasn't my friend's situation, no.
The other kids weren't talking about this as well?
They were not talking about it, no. They heard about it, but they weren't going on about it.
And so it was a surprise to you then when the Honda Pilot showed up outside?
Oh, yeah, it was.
Nobody was outside waiting at that time?
Not that I knew of.
And you heard that the car had showed up, right?
Yes.
Who did you hear that from?
I don't recall who.
Just someone said the St. Joe's kids were outside, right?
They said somebody was outside, yes.
Right. And someone said that, but you can't tell us who that was.
No, I don't know who.
How did they know to look outside to see that somebody was out there?
It was probably a relay.
It's speculation.
Sustained.
Was anybody looking outside to see if there was a car arriving?
Objection, does he know?
Well, it's been answered and it seems sufficient that he didn't know. I'll allow it to stand.
So you don't recall who said someone's here?
No.
But then everybody got up and went outside as a group together, correct?
People went outside, yes.
Well, you say people went outside. Who went outside?
I don't know exactly who, but people went outside.
Who was in front of you?
I don't recall.
Was there someone in front of you?
I don't recall.
Was there someone behind you?
I don't recall.
Was there someone to your side?
I don't recall.
Did you walk outside by yourself?
I walked outside.
By yourself?
I don't recall.
You do recall that there was a group of you, and you said at least 10 people were by the car and 10 people were in the driveway, right?
Yes.
But you don't recall who any of those people were.
I don't recall who I went out with, no.
These were all very good friends of yours that you had grown up with and played sports with since you were little.
Yes.
You can't recall who any of them were.
It wasn't important to me at the time, so no.
Wasn't important to you that your brother was going outside towards this car that you didn't know anything about?
I didn't know my brother was going outside.
You didn't see your brother outside?
No.
You can't tell us anybody that you saw outside.
There's people outside. I don't know the specifics of who was where and what was what.
How close was the nearest person to you while you were standing in the driveway?
Probably me to the judge.
And there were 10 of you in the driveway?
About, yeah.
Who were the other 9?
I don't recall
Objection, it's
exactly.
asked and answered.
It has been asked and answered, counsel. I'll sustain the objection.
There were 10 people by the car?
Yes.
Can you tell us who any of them were?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Did you see Tyler Rich by the car?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained. He's
I don't
already
recall.
answered. He doesn't know, counsel.
Did you see anybody reach into the front driver's side window?
No, I did not.
Did you see anybody put their upper body into the front driver's side window?
No, I did not.
The 10 people that were around the car, they were surrounding the car, right?
They weren't surrounding it. They were on one side of the car. From what I
Only
saw.
on one side of the car?
From my vision, yes.
How far away from the car would you say you were?
It's about 25 feet, 30 feet.
25 to 30 feet away?
Yeah, maybe a little farther.
Further than that even?
Yeah,
35, 40 feet away?
30.
You told us all you could hear was bickering, right?
Correct.
Did you hear anybody say somebody was flashing a knife?
Objection, that calls for hearsay.
I'll ask if he asked if he's heard it. I'll allow it overruled.
I don't recall hearing that.
Did you see anybody flashing a knife?
No.
Did you see anybody throw anything from the vehicle?
No, I did not.
Did you see anybody throw anything at the vehicle?
No, I did not.
Did you hear a smash or a shattering sound?
No, I did not.
Did you see the car being rocked by the 10 people that were surrounding it?
No, I did not.
Did you see anybody put hands on the car?
No, I did not.
Were you watching this whole thing the entire time?
No.
What were you doing?
Probably engaged talking to other friends.
So your attention was back and forth from the car to your friends?
In that moment, yes.
But you're sure that you looked over at that car and you saw Jack Snyder driving and Raul Valle in the car as well?
Yes.
Were you familiar with Jack Snyder?
Not really, somewhat. I've seen photos of him on social medias.
So you couldn't identify any of your friends that were around the car, but you'd seen photos of Jack Snyder before, and you could tell that that was him from 30 feet away.
Yeah, I saw people on social media from other times.
Okay. Were you familiar with Raul Valle?
Yes.
Had you known him just from social media like Jack Snyder, or had you had interactions with him?
No interaction, just knew of him from social media.
So you knew him from social media, and again, you could tell that that was him from 30 feet away.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell who your friends were that were around the car.
No. I was able to tell from his hair.
Did you see Faison Teal?
No.
Did you see Jimmy McGrath?
Not in that moment, no.
Who were you talking to in the driveway?
I don't know.
You said the bickering lasted 5 minutes or so, correct?
About, yeah.
And then without any other interaction between the vehicle, just the bickering, it sped off towards Farmhouse Lane, correct?
Correct.
And you stayed in the driveway, correct?
I went inside.
Well, you were still in the driveway, and then you went back into the house through the Bilko doors, right?
I went in through the Bilko doors, yes.
Who did you go back into the house with?
I don't recall who exactly.
Was it just you?
Probably.
When you got down into the basement, how many people were in there?
I don't recall.
Do you recall anybody that was in the basement?
No, not really.
Did you think about calling the cops at that point?
No,
Why not?
because I thought they had left. They sped away.
Didn't feel like it was a threat and you should call the cops?
No, they were told to leave, and they sped away, so they left.
And if you called the cops and they came, they found out that there was some underage drinking going on, that might be a problem, right?
Objection, that calls for speculation.
I'll allow it. You can answer.
Yeah,
So you didn't want to call the cops because you didn't want them to come and get everybody in trouble. Is that fair to say?
no.
When you went back inside, you told us you talked with your friends about the incident, right?
Said we briefly talked about it, not a full conversation. More of mimicking it, like, what was that?
Mimicking it?
Just saying, like, why did that happen? Why is that important?
Was there some talk about these guys are pussies, they didn't even get out of the car?
No,
None of that.
no,
Did you see Griffin Marcinzik?
no,
Did you see Ryan Hunt?
nope,
Did you see Sal Perry?
nope,
Did you see Jacob Villalobos?
nope,
Did you see Tanner Chernowski?
no,
Did you see Charlie Connery?
no,
You were all alone in that basement?
no. There's older kids my age and girls my age.
Oh, okay. Who were they?
I don't recall exactly who.
And you told us that you were down there for about 10 minutes, and there was no drinking going on at that point, right?
I said 2 to 5 minutes.
I'm sorry?
I said like 5 minutes.
You said 5 minutes
About, yeah.
that you were down in the basement?
Yeah,
You don't recall telling us just earlier when you were speaking with the state's attorney that you were down there for 10 minutes?
no, I said 5, I believe.
Okay. 5 minutes, no drinking going on.
No,
You were talking to some folks, but you can't tell us who.
I don't recall who, no.
And then you exited the house again, correct?
Correct.
You said that was because people claimed the car was outside still waiting, right?
Yep,
Who were those people?
I don't recall, it's just people.
More than one?
People were saying it, yeah.
People were saying
Yeah,
it, but you can't tell us who.
I don't recall who exactly.
But whoever it was that told you this, it grabbed your attention enough that though you don't remember them, you do remember them going outside to see what was going on, right?
Yes,
And you went outside, could you see the car when you first came out the door?
no,
No. You had to go down along the tree line, correct?
correct,
Over to where your car was by the far end of the tree line, right?
correct, yeah.
And you looked down the street, right?
Yep,
Did you see Faison Teal?
no,
He wasn't there in the yard?
no, that I saw.
Kind of hard to miss Faison, right?
Why? I didn't see him.
You didn't see him at all.
No,
He wasn't there in the yard.
no, I was by myself along the tree line and right into where my car was.
Okay. And you didn't see anybody else in the yard.
No, I didn't even look for that.
You looked down the street, you told us, and you saw people down there, right?
Yeah,
Who were those people?
I couldn't tell, they were far away.
Did you see the car down there?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell that it was the car?
Same car, yeah.
How could you tell that?
It was the same SUV car with a Honda facing this way. I know the structure of the car.
Well, it wasn't the only car that was in the street that night, was it?
The only one I saw.
That was the only car that you saw?
Yes, the one before I came
There
back
weren't
here.
other cars parked along both sides of the street, up and down?
Well, where the cars were parked at the house, yes, but not down where that car was.
That was the only car that was down there.
That I saw, yeah.
And what was the lighting like?
There was streetlights that way, and there was also flashlights in people's phones. It wasn't too dark. It was not dark at all.
Did you see a group of Shelton High kids going down the street chasing that car?
They were already down there by the time I viewed it. They weren't chasing.
What were they doing?
I couldn't hear or see how far what they were doing exactly.
You couldn't hear or see what they were doing.
Not exactly, but I saw people.
Who did you see?
It was too far to judge.
Did you see any fighting going on?
Down there, no.
Did you see anybody throwing anything?
No.
Did you see anybody spraying anyone in the face with a can of PB Blaster?
No.
Did you ever hear about a can of PB Blaster that night?
No, not that night.
Did you see Tyler Rich anywhere?
In that moment, no. Later, yes.
How many people did you see in the Shelton High kid group that was down the street?
They were scattered through the road, so I wasn't counting.
How many would you estimate were down there?
I don't know. I never thought to count how many people were down there.
No, but you went back inside and you told everybody what you saw, right?
I went inside and I was like, they're down there, sitting there. That's all.
Like that, calm and just, they're down there, they're sitting there.
Sure, yeah.
That's how you told the folks?
I don't recall exactly.
Who was it that you told?
I don't recall who.
Who was in the basement at that point?
The older crowd.
Who's the older crowd?
Kids my age. So the kids who graduated in 2021.
Like who?
The girls as like Michaela Holton and them. And then my cousin Will.
So it was just you, Will, and Michaela Holton and another girl that were in the basement at that point?
No, there was a little more people, but I wasn't engaging with them. So I wasn't picking up on who it was.
Where was your brother at this point?
I don't know.
And again, you told us that you heard that they came back, right?
Correct.
Who said they came back?
I don't know who.
How did you hear that they came back?
Someone said it.
How did they say it?
They came back.
Like that?
Yes.
They just calmly said they came back.
They said they came back.
You can't tell us who that was.
I don't recall who it was.
You're sure you were down in the basement?
Yes.
You didn't see Faison Teal down there?
No.
You didn't see Tyler Rich down there?
No.
You didn't see Matthew Lokovich down there?
No.
You didn't see Alex Burnson down there?
Nope.
Didn't see Michael St. Perry down there?
No.
Didn't see Sal Perry down there?
Nope.
Didn't see your brother down there?
No.
Didn't see Ryan Hines down there?
No.
In any event, you went back outside once you heard that they were there.
Correct.
Why did you go back outside at that point?
Because I heard they were back, and I was curious to see what was going on.
Did you go out by yourself?
Yes.
Nobody else was with you?
No, I went alone.
So when you got outside, people were already there in the yard.
Correct.
You went to the tree area in front of the blue truck in the exhibit that you were shown, correct?
Correct, by the mulch pile.
By the mulch pile. And you stayed there until the fight broke out, you told us.
Yeah.
And when you came out, you saw a group of Shelton High kids face to face with Tyler De Silva and Raul Valle, correct?
Correct.
Who were those kids that you saw face to face with Tyler De Silva?
Tyler Rich was on the right. Ty Wood was in the middle. And then I thought it was my brother Charlie Connor on the left, but that was Ryan Hines.
And that was it. There were just 3 kids that were there
Face
with
to
them?
face. Face to face, yes.
Okay.
There was kids in the driveway who I did not identify.
Only these 3 kids that you saw were in the yard.
That's all I saw, yes.
You didn't see Faison Teal in the yard?
No.
You didn't see Alex Burnson in the yard?
No.
Didn't see Matthew Lokovich in the yard?
No.
Didn't see Sal Perry in the yard?
Nope.
Didn't see Michael St. Perry in the yard?
No, I did not.
Didn't see your brother in the yard?
No, I did not. Well,
Were you
yes, I
looking for
did.
him?
I thought it was him.
I'm sorry?
I thought it was my brother, but that was Ryan Hines to the left,
You'd seen your brother earlier that night, correct?
briefly.
And he was wearing a white shirt, right?
Correct.
Ryan Hines was wearing a green hooded sweatshirt, correct?
Yes, that's what I was able to tell from the video, yes.
I'm sorry?
That's what I was able to tell from the pictures, yes.
But you thought that Ryan Hines in the green hooded sweatshirt was your brother in the white shirt?
Correct, I wasn't picking out what color clothes they were wearing. I did not think to take notes of that.
So, as best you recollect, it was just those three people in the yard facing the tube from the St. Joseph.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Was anybody blocking your view of things?
Of where they were?
Of
No.
what was in the yard?
No. Not where they were, no.
How close, when you came out, were Mr. De Silva and Mr. Valle to the curb there, the road?
I can't tell how close they were to the road. That was their backside, so I'd be looking through two lines of people.
Well, you described for us where you saw them in one of the exhibits before. Do you recall doing that?
Yeah, I do.
How far into the yard were they?
Right by that bush.
Right by that red bush that you
Do
had
you want me to
described
point?
before?
To where?
The red bush?
Yes, the red bush. Oh, the exhibit's not up.
And you told us you stayed there until the fight broke out. And that was to the roadside of the left red bush, correct?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. They were, Mr. De Silva and Mr. Valle were to the roadside of the leftmost red bush. Do you recall describing that to us?
Can you pull up an exhibit so I can see what you're talking about?
There's the big one behind it too.
States Exhibit 6 is what I'm showing you there. Is this the red bush that you're describing here, this one?
Yes, right where your finger. Yeah. Yep.
And do you see this sort of debris field here in the front?
Yes.
And you see the curve here?
Yes.
How far is it from the curb to the red bush?
I don't know. 15 feet, 20 feet.
15 feet, 20 feet. How far into the yard were Mr. De Silva and Mr. Valle?
I would say a little more than halfway to that bush.
So 7 to 10 feet in, if that bush is 15, 20 feet.
Yeah, in that range, yeah.
Halfway or so to that bush.
Yeah.
And they were standing close together, right?
Yes, they were.
And you could see their faces.
Yes.
You could see their hands.
Yes.
And did you see any weapons?
No, I did not see any weapons.
You didn't see Mr. Valle with the knife out, flashing it around.
Not in that moment, no.
Did you see Mr.
I did.
Were they in fists?
They were by their side. I don't know if they were in fists or not.
They weren't raised.
Not until I saw the jolt.
And you said that they approached your friends, right?
Yes, they came onto the grass.
They came onto the grass. And you said initially they were just talking back and forth, right?
Yes.
And you described it, well, maybe it was arguing, right?
Talking and arguing, yeah.
And you were asked, was it peaceful? And you said, peaceful, I guess so, maybe. Do you recall that?
I recall saying that.
And that's what you saw that night, right? Mr. De Silva was trying to talk with Mr. Rich.
It wasn't talking. It was not so peaceful as I described. Like they were arguing with each other face to face.
Okay, so it's not as peaceful as you described it?
Yeah, it was not, no.
Okay. So now it's your testimony that in fact it was not peaceful at all.
It didn't start off as immediately throwing hands, but they did walk up. There was talking before a fight.
What was the talking about?
I was 10 feet away. I was not listening.
You weren't listening?
No.
And then you said it looked as though Mr. Valle was going to do something. Do you recall that?
Correct.
You told us that he cocked his right hand, right?
I didn't say cocked. I said he made a jolt like he was going to throw.
You don't remember when the state's attorney asked you, he cocked his right hand, and you agreed with that?
He jolted. He went back. Like he went like this.
He flinched.
No, he did not flinch. A
Can
flinch,
you
a flinch is
describe,
when someone
you're
makes you
showing
flinch.
your shoulder coming back.
Yes, like that. Like you're going to do something.
Was his hand in a fist?
I did not see that, no.
Who was close to him when he did that?
Ryan Hines and Ty Wood.
Neither of them punched Mr. Valle, did they?
I didn't see who it was that punched him.
And again, at this point, your recollection is that there were only 3 people facing Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva, correct?
Yes, that's from my view, yes.
Did you see Mr. Teal anywhere?
No,
Did you see Mr. Lakovich anywhere?
no,
Did you see anybody other than those 3?
no, those are the only 5 people that I saw.
And then you said a Shelton High kid threw a punch, right?
Someone in that line, yes.
In fact, that was Tyler Rich, right?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I didn't
What
see.
blocked your view?
I just didn't see who it was. I said it came from the right side.
And that person threw that punch at Mr. Valle, correct?
Correct.
Knocked him down to the ground, correct?
Stumbled, didn't fall to the ground.
He didn't fall to the ground?
No, not that I saw, no.
Do you recall telling officers when you gave a statement to them that you saw Mr. Valle on the ground?
When he was dabbing me, yes. He was bent over as I described.
And you described not that he was bent over, that he was crawling on the ground, right?
He was on one knee coming towards me as I described it.
You told police officers that he was crawling on the ground, correct?
I do not recall.
And you told police officers that they were trying to start things, and one of them said, "We have a knife on us," right?
I don't recall saying that.
You don't recall telling that to officers Kozlowski, Ianati, Muyo, and Bango on May 15th at 12:30 in the afternoon when
I
you were at
don't.
your parents' house?
No, I don't.
Do you recall them saying, one of them saying that they had a knife on them?
No, I don't recall that.
Do you recall telling officers that you all went over to help?
I don't recall saying that exactly now.
Okay. You've told us that it was just you who went over to break this up, right?
Yeah, that's what I was engaged with, yes.
Nobody else was with you when you went over to break
No,
this
I
up?
ran by myself. There could have been other people, but not with me, no.
And you described for us that you were able to just get in between the two of these folks and push Mr. Hines away, right?
Yes, I pushed him
And
back to
then
his
you
spot.
took his place.
Yes.
Nobody else around you at that point.
Not that I was thinking of, no.
Did you see anybody with a phone in their hand filming anything?
No.
Did you see anybody with the phone in their hand with the light on?
No.
Did you see Tanner Chernowski anywhere around?
No.
Did you see your brother Charlie anywhere?
I thought my brother was Ryan Hines.
Okay, I understand that. Now you understand that he's not your brother. He was Ryan Hines, right?
Correct.
Did you see your brother Charlie anywhere?
Not after that, no.
Council, whenever you feel it was a good time to take a break.
Your Honor, I think perhaps if we stop here, that would be a good spot.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are going to go ahead and move into our lunch break. So we will stand in recess from now until 2 p.m. We'll pick evidence back up at 2 p.m. I remind you of your rules of juror conduct, the oath that you took, and the instructions that I have repeatedly given prior to our recesses and our adjournments. So please remember to stand by those rules and your oath, and have a good lunch, and we'll see you back for 2 o'clock. Thank you. Court stands in recess. Thank you.
I hope everybody has a great lunch. I will see you.